this morning's Health Watch, am I ugly? More and more teens and tweens, both girls and boys, are posting clips of themselves online asking that troubling question.
I'm making this video because I want to know if I'm pretty or not.
Am I beautiful? Am I pretty? Am I ugly?
Because at school, I get called ugly all the time.
Leave me a comment below telling me if I'm pretty or ugly.
So, tell me, am I?
As you can imagine, the responses to these videos can be extremely harsh and hurtful. Joining us to discuss this are Dr. Jen Hartstein, child and adolescent psychologist, and CBS This Morning contributor Lee Woodruff. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. This is not a fun thing, is it? I mean, it's really scary.
It's painful to watch. Yeah, it is painful to watch, and it makes you wonder, what is it inside of these kids that feels the need to do this? What do you think it is, Jen?
Well, I think it's a combination of what's inside and this need to figure out who they are, because 11 is really, we're starting middle school, really trying to figure out who we are in the world, and the external, because the messages that they're getting is you need to be beautiful, you need to look a certain way, you need to have a certain body style. So the fact is, it's the combination of the internal, the external working together and ultimately working against them. It's really a shame.
And to your point, I mean, these are questions girls and boys have always asked themselves throughout time. You used to just ask it to a mirror, and now you can ask it to the entire population on the internet, and that's really frightening.
And the answers are not always kind. I mean, the schoolyard version of this is, you had to put up with the 5 kids in the schoolyard who picked on you. Right. When you ask these things on the internet, you open yourself up to the whole world.
Well, the anonymity is unfair. In the schoolyard, perhaps those 5 people aren't going to be cruel to your face, but the fact that you can just go on a space in cyberspace.
Right, and you're opening it up to the world. So now you have people who are across the country potentially giving you these answers, and the answers have not really been kind. So they're saying, am I ugly? And people are saying, yeah, you really are. So these kids are opening themselves up to cyberbullying in ways we've never seen before, and that's also potentially very scary.
Jen, you probably see this all the time in your practice. Maybe not the am I ugly version of it, but kids going on the internet, getting negative reinforcement. It's all around. What's your advice to parents? And if you were a parent who found out your child had done this, what would you tell them to do?
Well, it's a really, really tough question. We were talking about this back in the back, and we were saying, parents need to be monitoring. Technically on YouTube, you're not supposed to be onto your 13, just like Facebook. So are you monitoring? Where are your kids getting on? How are they doing this? And if you see that they're doing it, ask them, why? What's going on? What do they think beauty is? Start a dialogue about what beauty really is, both internal and external, and see where you can go with that.
Lee, you're a parent. You have 2 girls who are around this age.
I do, and I was actually showing them the site, and they said, Mom, we would never do this. And I looked at them and said, Mom's going to watch everything that you're doing. I did this with your older siblings, and I will do it with you. And I think the key, too, we were talking about is really accentuating their positives. Because I know I watch my girls as they look at themselves. So we talk about the fact that somebody's a great singer or the other twin is a wonderful artist. And when you pump up the positive parts of them, you're never going to combat that am I ugly, am I pretty thing. They will have to grow into that. But you can at least
help. We as women have that issue. So it's not like it ends when we're an adult, but I think it's knowing where all of your strengths lie and accentuating that so much that they know that it doesn't have to only be one thing or another.
And I hate to take a bad story and make it worse, but when young, attractive children are out there on the internet and they're asking for positive reinforcement, that can come from some of the darkest corners of the internet. There's the predator issue there. More reason for parents to be engaged.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that we can't minimize the fact that you don't know who's looking at these videos, and you need to. And there's been studies out that people are snagging them and then putting them on really inappropriate websites. So we really want to be aware of yeah, it is pretty disgusting, and we really want to be aware of what's happening.
Well, Dr. Jen Hartstein, Lee Woodruff, thanks so much for joining us on this topic this morning.